This episode of Tutcast is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. Enter coupon code TUT1 and save an additional 10% off your GoDaddy.com purchases. Hey there, welcome to another Photoshop tutorial from Tutcast.com. And in this tutorial, we're going to be focusing on clearing up blemishes and acne on someone's face. I've had a few requests on how to do this, and I have a tutorial in my library that I did a while ago on something similar, but it wasn't as in-depth that I'm going to go in today. I'm going to be discussing 4 tools in this tutorial. Number 1 is the clone stamp tool. Number 2 is the spot healing brush. 3 is the healing brush, and 4 is the patch tool. All of them work similar, but in different functions. Now, depending on the version of Photoshop that you're using, some older versions don't have some of the tools I'm going to be discussing, some are in different locations, and some work a little bit differently. So hopefully you'll find one that you like and that you have that can help you with your projects. So let's begin. We're going to start off with the clone stamp tool, which can be found in our tools palette right over here. Now, this is the way the clone stamp works. First of all, you need to choose your brush. Now, from my past experience, I find that a soft brush works best. So choose a soft brush with the opacity and flow around 50%. Those seem to work the best. Now, basically what you want to do, you want to choose which area you want to fix. So in this example, I want to fix the middle of the eyebrow area here. So what I want to do, I want to sample an area that I want to replace it with. So I'm going to hold down Alt or Option, which will bring up our crosshair, and I'm going to click on a smooth skin area right around this area here. And once I click, it sampled that area. And what I want to do now, I want to start brushing on the area I want to replace. And you'll notice, as I start brushing, it replaces that area with the sampled area that we clicked on. So if we undo it, and then redo, you'll notice it's cleared up that area a little bit. So we can go ahead and sample down here, and brush up like this. And it's cleaned up that area pretty well. So if we go back, and then forward, it's looking pretty good. It's not perfect, but you're getting the idea. So the next tool we want to look at is the spot healing brush tool. Now, some of the older versions of Photoshop don't have these tools, but it's right over here. The shortcut key is J. Now, if you hold down your shift key and then press J, you can cycle through those tools, and we're going to be getting into those in a minute. So grabbing the spot healing brush tool, the spot healing brush tool is a very simplistic tool, but it only works in certain situations. You'll notice at the top right of her face, on her forehead, she has this pimple or mole or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to shrink my brush down a little bit. Basically what you want to have a brush size just a little bit bigger than the area you want to fix. So in this case, we want to fix this mole. We want to basically get rid of it. So I'm going to set my brush size just a little bit bigger than the mole, and all we have to do is click. And it's gone. It's just like magic. Basically what it does is when we click our mouse on top of the area we want to fix, it samples the direct area around the brush, and then it applies what it sampled on top of the brush. It's a really great tool, and for small little blemishes, especially round blemishes, it works very well. So going down here, we can shrink our brush a little bit and get rid of this mole here. And it's gone. And it's very seamless. It does a great job at blending. It's a great tool. There's really not a lot to tell about this tool. That's pretty much about it. You just make your brush a little bit bigger and click. Now, some of the larger blemishes may not work as well. You may want to get into the clone stamp tool to fix up a few areas as well. But anyway, we're going to move on to our next tool. That tool was very simplistic, very easy to use. And we're going to go into our healing brush tool, which is sort of like an advanced clone stamp tool. So we're going to go ahead and select the healing brush tool. And just like we did in the clone stamp tool, we're going to hold down Alt or Option and select an area right above the left eyebrow by clicking. And what we're going to do, we're going to just start brushing over top of the eyebrow. And you'll notice it gives us a very simple overview of what we're going to be sampling and replacing with. But unlike the clone stamp tool, the healing brush tool uses sampling and blending. So once we release our mouse, it's going to sample the area around the area that we brushed on top of and use that to blend it all nicely together, as you can see. So if we undo and redo, it looks pretty decent. It looks somewhat natural. It looks a little bit weird, but it looks somewhat natural. And obviously we can go ahead and grab our clone stamp and soften up the edges a little bit more and redefine and make it look even better. So the difference between the clone stamp and the healing brush is the clone stamp doesn't have that real-time sampling and blending. You have to do that all manually. The healing brush is sort of like the advanced version, which does do the blending for you. So it's a really great tool. I suggest using the healing brush over the clone stamp unless you find it doesn't work that well in certain areas. Some areas it probably won't work that well and you'll have to resort to the clone stamp. So we're going to head over to our tools palette once again, and we're going to grab our patch tool, which is the last tool we're going to be discussing. Now the patch tool uses a selection method. Basically, we are given a freehand lasso tool that we can use to trace out an area that we want to replace. So we're going to drag out an area around the right eyebrow. We're going to select the whole entire eyebrow, just like this, by dragging our mouse around. And once we let go, we have a selection, as you can see here. We want to move our mouse inside the selection and then drag to the area we want to replace it with. So we're going to drag our mouse to a clear skin area right around here and then let go. And just like the healing brush, it uses all that area to sample it and then blend it very nicely. And it looks very seamless. I don't see any hard edges. It looks very natural. Again, very weird, but very natural. And that's basically how the patch tool works. So in this tutorial, to sum it up, I've discussed 4 tools. The clone stamp tool, the spot healing brush tool, the healing brush tool, and the patch tool. All of them work very similar, but they're used for very different things. So experiment with all those tools, figure out which one you're most comfortable with, apply it to your projects, practice, have fun with it, and I hope you picked up on some tips in this tutorial. And until next time, this is Howard from tutcast.com. Take care.